Let's do that. Okay, sweet. And also, hi everyone. I know we're starting a couple minutes early. Let me just post the Zoom link on my Instagram for homies who
Shut the
can't pull
fuck
up.
up.
Let's see, and let me do a little bit of this. Okay, sweet. Awesome. Oh, so many
So
familiar
many
faces.
familiar faces.
Mute. Oh, boom. Okay, cool. Eddie, Adrian, what's up, guys? All right. Boom. Thank you all so much for swinging by while we're kind of getting things going. Comment in the chat where you're calling in from. Let's see what this crew is looking like. I appreciate everyone in the US calling in the middle of a workday. Let's see. We got Denver, Texas, Toronto, Scotland. Let's go. Holland, San Diego, South Texas, Las Vegas, Scotland. Dude, man, shout out Terminal V. I was there in April. It was so fun. Oakland, Jackson, Wyoming, LA. Oh, DJ Wi-Fi, what's good? Seattle, Olivia, Philly, DC, Chicago, Nashville, Netherlands, Albuquerque, New York, Salt Lake City, Ghent, Belgium. Dude, I'm glad we have a nice European squad holding it down. What's good? What's going on from Miami, San Diego, Finger Lakes, New York, Denver, Minneapolis, San Diego, Bellingham, Washington, Orlando, Charlotte, Boulder, Colorado. Let's go. Costa Mesa, Miami, Charlotte, Chino, California. Um, Zooming into my work computer, amazing. Olympic, Pennsylvania, the Olympic Peninsula, yes. Austin, San Diego, Quebec, Palm Desert, Scottsdale, LA, California, Estonia, dude, Jenny, wow. Houston, Texas, Ireland, represent. I was at the Mija show at Rainbow Rave, amazing. Vancouver, Netherlands, Amsterdam. By the way, I'm going to be playing in Amsterdam, not this Friday, but next Saturday, the 23rd, with Bad Boom Box. Very much looking forward to that. It's gonna be so fun. Saarbrücken, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Orange County, Milwaukee, Virginia Beach, New Orleans. So awesome. Barcelona, let's go. Amazing. If you let's see, let's keep the icebreaker questions going. I'm also just allowing time for people to filter in. Can you comment in the Zoom chat who you've been listening to? Are there any artists or labels or even just genres that you've been excited about? Let's see what people have been listening to. All right, let's see. Scrolling around. Beltran, Prospa. I just ran into Prospa the other night in LA. Let's see, mute all. Let's see. Tycho Newlight, Experts Only, Morelia, love Morelia, Dusty Dan, yes, Arena, Terminal Underground, Cryptogram, Yerby, Lovely Day, You and Mija. Oh, I'm so glad you like that song. New Sarah Landry's album, Maytrack and Zorza, Mishlift, yes, he's awesome. Adam 10, Closey, Levity, DOD, Maluji, Kink, Ganja White Knight, A-Track. I love the range. It's so awesome. Anoder, Groove P, Sammy Virgie, he's amazing. Measure Divide, Over Mono, Caribou new album, so good. Odd Mob. Uh, let's see, Coal Mines Records. I'm not familiar. I have to check it out. My own 8 Bar Loop. Yes, Dan. Mickey Nair. So good. Culprits. New album is nasty. Prospa and Pasa. Sammy Virgie. Lots of Mishlift and Bad Boombox. X Club. They're awesome. Mike Jaguar. Slow Rolla. Square Pusher. Justin Martin. Yes, Justin. Rico Pastel. What's up, Bjorn? Adapter. Been listening to a lot of Bass House. Actually been listening to you a bunch since Cascade Equinox. Dude, amazing. Black Buck, Fireground, Adrian. Yes, Fireground. They're making such sick music. Okay, sick. Let's amazing, amazing. So many good responses. I see DJ Assault, Scrolling, Villager. There's so many. Silva Bumpa, Lubelski. Okay, cool. Let's do maybe one or two last icebreakers real quick before we kick things off. Seems like we already got a pretty good crew. So I'm kind of curious. I just want to like check in with people to catch a vibe of where things are at with you and your musical journey. So like maybe a good question would be like, you know, like, yeah, just hmm, what paint the picture. Like, are you are you just interested in beginning to DJ or make music? Are you playing shows locally in your scene? Paint the picture for me. And also if you'd like, um, I guess maybe you can write about what you want to be doing, or just feel free to like share a little bit about yourself. Okay, cool. We're not making it out of the trenches just yet. Let's see. DJing by mixing, wanting to get into playing music. In my first year producing and DJing, awesome. Making a lot of core ideas in Ableton, but trying to work my own tracks for my DJ sets in Denver. Classically trained pianist, but I'm struggling with learning sound design and finding my style subgenre. Beginner DJ and starting producer, awesome. Veteran DJ, want to learn how to produce bangers. Longtime DJ, but interested in moving into production. Okay, cool. College events DJ, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, cool. And now I want to just hit you guys with one last question before we start. Just curious if you could comment, what do you feel like what's currently in your way? What challenges are you trying to overcome? What do you feel, is in your way with where you want to get to? Let's see what people have to say. Okay. Boom. Okay. Connecting with management agencies, self-doubt. Oh, that's a huge one that I think every artist at every level experiences. Stuck finishing FML. Yeah. Feel you. Finding music. Well, Samantha, I feel like we'll make sure to post the recording of this, along with the chat. So all those recommendations that we now have from everyone. So much good music out there. Getting more gigs, overwhelmed by Ableton, totally feel that. Making an EPK, the workflow, I get everything else lined up. Social media, hold on, proof. Can't stand these videos, that's so fair. Burnout and motivation, totally. The local scene is still small. Can definitely be a factor based on where you're at. Building up my network seems to be a challenge. Mixing and mastering, building community. Okay, so here, I'm just gonna stop right there because I feel like that is one of my favorite things about being able to do these Zooms. Is it's a huge opportunity to connect with people who share a passion for music. And I think, many of you, I'm sure many of you are in places where maybe there isn't the biggest scene. And so using the internet to connect with other people is so important. And then there's others who might be in a really big city. And, even just like in this Zoom chat, I hope you might you might find that there's someone else who likes similar music as you in your town. This is such a great opportunity for connecting. Kate, maybe if you could drop our Discord, that's like one place you can go to connect with each other, but we'll make sure to share, at the very end, we'll all share like our Instagrams if you'd like to, and provide another way for people to connect. But this idea of community is such a big one. And our very special guest today, I feel like, is such a leader when it comes to bringing people together, and, her ability to, foster positive, inclusive community, I feel like is really, really inspiring. And she's just absolutely lovely. I think without further ado, Mija, how are you doing?
Hi.
Can everyone unmute? Sorry to interrupt. Everyone, real quick, unmute your microphones and make some noise for Amber, aka Mija.
Yo!
Hey.
Hey! Say what's up, Mija?
Oh, yeah.
Let's go,
Amazing.
Mija.
All right, I'm gonna mute everyone. Amber, you might need to unmute your mic.
Oh my God, I loved that.
Dude, how are you doing?
I'm doing so good. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh,
It's super dark outside and it's fully nighttime, but it's like my prime hours, so this is good.
amazing. I appreciate you hopping on. I know it's getting late. And for those that don't know, where are you calling in from?
Berlin, baby.
Cool. And Berlin. So how long have you been there? Because you recently, in the grand scheme of things, made the move.
Yeah, Justin invited me to Berlin in June, and then I moved in August. So I've been here since.
So crazy. And yeah, how's that experience been? Like new language, new people, new city. How's it going?
It's really, really fun. Having a lot of like first time experiences, which is always great because there's nothing like the first time. Getting to explore, see new things every day, collaborate with some artists out here. So that's been really fun. Um, yeah, I'm really just getting like my feet in the water. I'm trying not to party too hard because I'm trying to like really make like just like work really, really hard and grind this year and like make a lot of music. So it's been a little bit less partying than there was in June when we were here together.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been really good. I love it. The language barrier is also great because I kind of love being like blissfully unaware of what's going on. So I feel like that's kind of working to my benefit. But I am trying to learn the language.
Dude, I feel like I recently followed you on Duolingo and your German stats you're killing it. I'm so
Yeah.
inspired.
I had like an 80 something day streak and then I lost it at 80E.
Oh no.
Now I'm on like 11 or something, but whatever.
Hey,
I'm
let's go.
fine.
You can't be stopped. Amazing. So just to give, I feel like I have so many questions for you. I'm really excited to chat. I feel like maybe a good starting place just to roll with this momentum is why did you make the move to Berlin? You were living in Los Angeles for many years prior. Can you paint the picture of what went through your head to spend a month in Germany in June and then move in August? That's wild.
Well, I think I was already like at the beginning of the year when I got dropped, I was already kind of feeling like where do I belong? Like who are my people? Like why aren't my friends playing my music? Like I was a bit lost like creatively. I knew like what I liked, but I've never been like the type of DJ that would like go out and really like study like record labels and like especially like a lot of things in Europe. Like I'm mostly one of the DJs that I just find tracks that I like and I just collect them all and I know nothing about the labels. Um, However, once Justin and I had like a big moment at Cross where we hung out and had to do like a really long drive. And he started like asking me questions about like, what are you listening to? What kind of DJs are you playing in your sets? And then he was also telling me like, oh, you should check out this label or that DJ started this label. And he was kind of putting a lot of the pieces together for me to get the knowledge that I needed in order to evolve with like this taste that I had kind of like this like a little bit faster, harder, groovier techno sound that I was going with or that I really liked. And so once I once that clicked, I like fully sent research mode, like digging through so many different tunes and like redoing, not redoing, but like basically making all my demos like 140 BPM instead of what they were before. And I did that. And then I came to Europe because Justin was like, I'm going to spend time in Europe. And I was like, that sounds fun. I want to do that too. And I've never really had like a Euro moment before. So I did that. And suddenly everything became really, really easy. It was like all of the people, like labels were actually interested in the songs that I was offering them, which was not happening for me at the time in America. Like nobody wanted to sign any of my tracks. That's why I started Never Be Alone and opened that up publicly and just went full send on that. But yeah, that's kind of how I got to this place. Like once it became really easy, it's just like a sign from the universe. Like nothing is that easy unless you're meant to be there. And I was found myself really happy, really excited about making music. And yeah, that's
Uh,
pretty much why I decided to move here.
So awesome. And I feel like one of the qualities that I really admire about you is you are someone who I just feel like is unstoppable. Like whenever there's a challenge or, maybe things aren't going exactly, your way, I feel like you find a way to make things work for you. And I think, I feel like I've seen that so many times in your career. I think I love how you answered this question. I think I'd love to give a little bit more context for people who don't know. So, in terms of, like I want to help paint the picture. Like you've moved to Berlin, you're now, doing all these amazing shows in Europe. You're getting your music signed to, you know, all of these labels and things seem to be going really well. You talk about how it wasn't going smoothly when you were in the US. Can you paint that picture of where you were, you know, in, at the beginning of this year? You mentioned you got some unfortunate news from your agent at the time. Can you tell us what happened?
Yeah. So I think towards the end of last year, I'll start in like 2023 even, like towards the tail end, I had just put out like a house EP, like house breaks techno EP type of thing. And I had an idea of where I wanted to go. I knew it was like more of like a little bit more energetic, a little bit faster, a little bit more driving, like a little boys noisy. Like that was kind of where I thought I was going to be,
Mhm.
in the lane that I thought I was going to be in. And then once I got dropped, it was like it was really unexpected for me, to be honest.
Mhm.
Did not see it coming at all. This was like an agent of 9 years, so almost 10 years of a relationship with somebody. And it really like it shook me because my shows were selling out at the time when like you don't always sell out, but at the time they were selling out and I was like selling tickets and I couldn't figure out like why it wasn't working. And I think that for the first time in my career I needed to make a decision and that was like I need to figure out like who is Mija? Like I've been all of these things for the past 10 years. I've explored every avenue that I possibly could, but like who is me? And I felt like I was starting to figure that out at the same exact time as I got dropped. So that was that was kind of like it made me question myself, but it also more than that, it lit a fire underneath me. And I
Mhm.
was like, I can feel myself gaining momentum right now, and you don't believe in me. Like that blew my mind. So I took that energy and I transformed it into, okay, well, if you don't want to be my agent, then I'll just become a better agent than you are, type of like behavior in my head. So
And really quick, what is an agent for those who are here that might
an
not know?
agent is the person that gets your bookings. They're basically the ones that where all the money comes from.
Right.
Yeah.
And, as a DJ, so you're with this agent for your entire career, years and years of doing amazing shows together. And this is the person who's really responsible for keeping your financial livelihood, in a good place. And you mention seemingly out of nowhere that you get the news that this agent is discontinuing your professional relationship and that you'll no longer be working together. And your response is to become your own agent. And you talk about how this fueled your fire. Can you paint a picture of what this next chapter looked like when you were like, I don't need you, I'm doing this myself, and things are going to be even better? What did that look like?
Yeah, it was really fun. I get such an adrenaline rush being an agent. It's crazy. Like I don't know why. I think maybe just because I hung out with my agent so much that like I already knew the ins and outs. I knew like I knew how everything worked. I knew like what you're supposed to do. And I done this before in the very, very beginning of my career before I had this agent, making like a fake email address and just being like send offers here and like just acting as my own fake booking agent. And then I also had it was really cute. I do everything like pretend, right? Like originally Never Be Alone. It wasn't a real label. It was my fake label. Just like my Never Be Alone agency is like my fake agency. But then my longtime friend Gina Turner was like, babes, I think that we can actually start something and like do something with this. And so I was like, all right, now Never Be Alone is going to be like a temporary agency and we're going to help not only me but like whatever whoever the artists are that are on our label, like if they're getting shows and they need advice or they need help or they need someone to like be that person that's like the middle ground that just like knows what to say to help them get their gigs and all aligned, like by all means, like we do that for some of our artists. So we're still doing it a little bit. I am still controlling all of my gigs in North America. I haven't relinquished control over that yet.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, my focus right now is definitely in Europe. So that's where I'm trying to spend most of my time.
100%, 100%. And I think, yeah, I don't know. It's really interesting. You know, I just want to highlight how sort of your fortitude in that moment, because, you know, I think it can be really difficult when you're in a situation where, you know, I want when this happened, how did it feel emotionally? Like initially, was it really difficult? I mean, it'd be very understandable if it was like a really shocking, you know, painful thing initially. Did it feel that way?
Oh, absolutely. It felt like worse than like, or not worse. It probably felt equal to like a really long time breakup.
Mm,
Um, I was kind of oscillating between being really sad and feeling like I wasn't good enough to feeling really angry and like resentful to feeling like really inspired to like prove them wrong, basically. And it
mhm.
kind of just went through that cycle for a few months. And it got better over time. Like less and less I was angry, less and less I was feeling resentful. And the more that time that went on, the more I realized that, well, I knew in the beginning that it was going to be good for me, but it was really hard because I was still feeling all those emotions. But after time and the emotions subsided, it did prove to be really, really good for me. Um,
How come?
because I mean, essentially, if a person doesn't want to work with you, they're not paying attention to you. And I don't think I had been really paid attention to in a long time. But I don't think that I would have left him if he hadn't left me. I
Mhm.
think that I had such a good friendship with this person, and I also it's just like a really safe person to be with. Like he was a really, really top agent who holds a lot of power.
Mhm.
Um, So, it would have just been safer for me to like stay with him, keep doing the same tour routes that I've been doing for the past 10 years and like but at the end of the day, like that's not enough, right? Like that's gonna feel like you're just doing the same thing over and over and over again, and it'll get stagnant eventually. So I think for me, like after spending the past 10 years in LA, it was like the exact right time for all of these things to happen. I needed to switch up. I needed new people around me that were inspired by what I was doing, that were paying attention to me, that believed in me. Um, so I think that's why everything got better at the end.
Oh, it's so beautiful. There's this there's this ancient there's this old story that I heard, like a myth, that I feel like captures the wisdom that you're describing exactly. Um, I'll share it with you. It'll take like maybe 90 seconds. But I wonder if this will resonate, because this is what I perceive like happened. There's this story about this is so funny to talk about, but there's this myth about a golden Buddha statue that was in a village that was deep in the jungle. And there were these villagers who loved the golden Buddha statue. And one day the town got word that an invading army was on its way to plunder the entire town. And so the villagers put mud and clay to cover up the golden Buddha and disguise it as just like a pile of dirt. Um, the army comes, the villagers are forced to leave, but the golden Buddha is left untouched as it's hidden under all this mud. And then one day there's a crazy earthquake and it fucks everything up, and like buildings are destroyed. But it breaks off a piece of the mud on this golden Buddha statue, and everyone had forgotten that it was gold on the inside. And sometimes like it's the crazy earthquake that fucks everything up and shakes everything, that then helps illuminate a sliver of gold and magic that can then inspire, like, I think in the story it's like then the new villagers who had come, they then realize there's gold under this pile of dirt, and they uncover the golden Buddha to its former glory. And I think with your story, to have this, you know, intense breakup, to where you were in, a pattern of, maybe doing a lot of the same shows that weren't inspiring to you, or, felt, you know, that maybe things weren't, you described it as it wasn't the best, you weren't getting the attention that you uh, could have gotten. And then here you are after this challenging moment. You've now moved to Europe, playing all of these amazing shows, all these incredible things seem to be happening. Um, and it's just so inspiring how sometimes something not so good can lead to a beautiful new chapter, if you don't give up and really focus. And I'm curious, does that sound like it represents your journey?
Yeah, no, that Buddhist story sounds like a very, very good example of how I feel. I think one of the first things that I said to my friend or my manager or something after the phone call, I was like, I think that they forgot that I'm magic. Like, and I need to start chipping away off all this dirt to like remind you and remind myself and to like be magic again.
Oh, so inspiring. And yeah, I'm just curious, like, were there ever were there days where you were questioning, like, should I give up? Should I stop? Like, is this worth it? No. Hmm.
No, never. I mean, the thing is, like, I've been a raver since I was 15, Justin. Like,
Uh-huh.
I remember being 15 and sitting and wondering, like, am I going to be doing this when I'm 30? And yeah, I turned 30 and I was like, yeah, I'm still doing this.
Hmm.
Like, this is what I would be doing no matter what. Like, if I was just a local DJ in Phoenix playing at the Sheraton and throwing my own parties every Friday still, like I was 10 years ago, that was fine. Like, that was great for me. I loved that.
Hmm.
Um, the fact that anything more happens is like it's a blessing, honestly. Um, and so even that since I was able to prove that I could do it really, really young, I feel like now being 10 years later, having like 10 years of experience and wisdom has only put me in a better position.
Yeah.
So I didn't ever feel like, oh no, this is the end, or like I'm not going to keep going. It was like, okay, now this is an opportunity to do it better than I've ever done it before, and I actually am ready this time. Like I kind of know what I'm doing this time around. So if anything, it feels like it might be a little easier.
That is so inspiring to hear. And I feel like I'm so grateful to be able to like have this chat with you because, I mean, I feel like it's really normal for artists to like question things, to consider giving up in all these moments. And I feel like this is one of your superpowers where you're just unstoppable, like I feel like this confidence in what you just said about, throwing parties at the Sheraton, maybe, or, 10 years ago when things were in, a more like humble beginnings and how much those times meant to you. I mean, I'm kind of tempted to circle back on your starting point with how you fell in love with all of this music. And yeah, how did you get into raving and dance music?
I got into raving after I did mushrooms with a friend, and we were like on mushrooms. I think they were like telling me about a rave, and I was like, "That sounds crazy." So the next week, I ended up at a rave,
Hmm.
and I just fell in love with everything about it. Like the music was like something I'd never heard before, but also like the inner workings of like all of these different people that were from all different parts of Phoenix, not just like my little suburb that was the only place I'd ever been in my entire life growing up. So getting to meet like all these different types of people and going on these online forums where there was like people fighting over rave politics, and like I really got to learn like the landscape and the political structure of like how to throw parties, what's acceptable, what's like a faux pas or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, and that's how I got my first beginning. So I was a promoter before I was a DJ. And then I quickly discovered that promoting is the most like underappreciated, most stressful job ever. So then I quit and I was like, I'm just going to be a
What
DJ.
was your first show as a promoter?
As a promoter, when I helped on, or like my first party that I ever threw was called Yoshi's Island. Before that, I would help my friends throw events. Um, there was like the big event was like one that was like the first one we ever like booked a lot of headliners for.
Mhm.
My friend threw Just Keep Raving. That was a really good one.
Uh-huh.
There's so many back in the day. Shout out Phoenix.
And so, I think when you talk about, you know, to connect this to what you were just speaking about with, you have this, very absolute, focus and confidence in, I feel like it's rooted my perception is it seems like it's rooted in just your love for this music and the love for DJing. When and how did that really take shape? Yeah, maybe when did you realize you loved DJing?
Um, I don't, it seems like just like the natural progression. Like
Yeah,
I at the beginning, I didn't really care what job I had. I just wanted to be at the rave. Like
yeah.
being at the rave and like connecting with people was the most important part to me. And like
Hmm.
music has been in my blood since like 10 years before I even started raving through like being in classical choirs. And like I was always like the musical kid. I was never the sporty kid like growing up. So I always knew that music was like something that I wanted to do. DJing came really naturally to me. I had a lot of music. I had all my friends were already DJs at this time while I was like throwing parties, booking them.
Yeah.
So I don't know, everything just came really naturally. And then when I feel like when I started like actually taking DJing really seriously was probably when I was like 20 to 21 years old,
Yeah.
like 19 to 21 years old. And that was when I fell in love with house music, like
Mm.
Chicago house and Detroit techno, minimal
Mhm.
type, like minimal tech, like all that sort of thing. And I started hanging out with this crew called Rebel Disco.
Mhm.
And they were like super snobby, like playing vinyl, like very, very good taste. Like you had to impress them if you wanted to play their parties and you had to like play on vinyl sometimes if you like really wanted to impress them. So I like that learned how to play on vinyl, got a bunch of records from one of the guys that like ran the crew and like really like figured out how to get in with them. And as soon as everybody respected me as like a really cred house techno DJ, Skrillex came in super hot. And then I moved to LA and like went super EDM because I had never done that before. So I had to go down that rabbit hole for a bit. But initially I started as like a disco house DJ.
Yeah. Oh, you know what's so cool? I love how you began this answer, me asking you about your love of DJ. It started with you talking about your love for the community, for the culture of the rave. And I just feel like I I feel like that's just so there's just something so beautiful. How I feel like that's such a through line in your journey, at least from my perspective, where, you know, whether it's connecting with the community of raving, like as an attendee or as a promoter, then as a DJ, it's all I feel like it's all that to me is just such a something that really stands out. Now I want to like flash forward to how you're building community with Never Be Alone, your label. So to like fast forward back to, mid 2024 and your agent has, stopped working with you and you are now hustling shows yourself. Um, can you paint the picture of what were things looking like with your music, with the music you're making, with demos you were sending? What was happening?
Basically, what was going on at that time is I was, um, for example, my song Groove
Mhm.
came out I think in 2023. It's kind of like I was making a hard groove too slow, and
Uh-huh.
that was why my demos weren't working. It wasn't
Mhm.
until you told me like, "Hey, you should try speeding all your demos up to 140 and just see what happens." And I was like, "Wow, that makes sense." That's kind of where I was like musically. Um, what was the first part of your question again?
Well, just, I guess I'm getting at like what inspired you to start Never Be Alone as a real
Oh,
label?
yeah, no, that's a good one. So I credit two people for this opening up to the public. Um, Jacob Gross, he was the one of the I think he's probably the first or second person. And Baby Wait, those two people
Mhm.
asked me in 2023 if they could release a song on Never Be Alone. And I was like, guys, like it's not a real record label. It's not gonna do anything for your music career. Like especially Baby Wait, because like she already has a career, you know? So it's like she doesn't need Never Be Alone, but she was really persistent. She's like, I really want to release a song on your label. And I was like, all right. So then I was like, I'll open it up. And I was like making plans to do this. Like I hadn't started the process though. And then I got dropped. And so then I was like, okay, well now I'm gonna, and I was also at the same time, I was like sending a lot of record labels to, sending a lot of demos to record labels and getting rejected on every single front. So I was like, all right, screw it. I'm going to open it up publicly. I'm going to release my own songs that nobody else wants, and I'm going to release my friends' songs. But I wanted to create a label where like I'm not the sole person in charge. Like everybody on the label isn't working their way up to open for me. Like that's not the vibe at all. I wanted it to be really community oriented, more of just like a place where anybody's welcome to pop by if they want to make a friend, get some advice, listen to music. Um, and then also collectively vote on the songs that come out on the label next. So that was I did one song a week, like every single Friday for probably 7 months, and then we started doing VAs to try to get more people into the crew. But we have 37 artists now, so that's pretty good for 1 year.
Amazing. That's incredible. And I feel like your whole approach with the label is so inspiring, so unique. And it seems like I remember when you were first kicking things off, you were doing everything yourself from the artwork to I think the distribution, like everything. I and I'm curious, could you talk a little bit about the community side of things? Like obviously I'm seeing NBA, the NBA chat is popping off in the Zoom. Yeah, can you talk about how you helped foster that community and how you've brought people together? You said Telegram is a part of how you like to stay in touch with everyone.
Yeah, so I guess I chose Telegram because low key, I'm a crypto girl, and a lot of my crypto communities are all on Telegram. And so I was like, this is a really good, like my group chats for those. I just wanted to make something that like that existed for all of my non-crypto like
Mhm.
community.
Yeah.
So that's why I chose Telegram. And basically, like what I think is really, really important if you want to have a community, you don't you don't have to give your all every single day. Like everybody has a life and everybody's ebb and flowing. But I think that if you can commit to just showing up once a day and saying GM,
Mhm.
simple as that. At least do that. Like at least you're proving that you're showing up for your community and that you are there. So like I try to do that. Obviously, sometimes I talk a lot, sometimes I forget to say GM, but
Mhm.
that's like kind of where my head's at. I just want to show up for my community all the time, and that's what the Telegram chat is for. Um, Anybody can get into it. I just have to, I'm the only person that screens everybody. So sometimes it takes a little while and I have to like send the links via Instagram and stuff. But yeah, I really, really like having the Telegram chat. That was one of my favorite things that I did this year.
Oh, so awesome. And for those that don't know, GM means good morning.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's
um,
always morning, in case you're wondering. Like
yeah,
it's never not morning.
amazing. Okay, cool. It's got to be morning somewhere on planet Earth, I think.
It's
So
never morning when I say GM for anybody else, that's for sure. It's like me and Enigma, and that's about it.
that's so good. Um, so awesome. All right, so let's keep on let's go into the future a little bit. So in terms of, making the move to Europe, does it feel like a new a new game? Does it feel like a different world as building your career as a DJ producer? How's that been?
It feels a lot different. But it feels a lot easier for me.
Hmm.
I feel like the way that they do things in Europe like resonates more with my creative style and personality.
Hmm.
Um, Something that I've noticed that's really fun in Europe is like when you're performing, they almost get more excited when they hear something that they haven't ever heard before. They're
Hmm.
like, whoa, what is that? Like their minds get blown. Versus like I feel like in America, they would a lot of times like I would play something that people had never heard before and they would appreciate it and like they'd be like, oh, that's interesting. And like they'd be there and they wouldn't leave, but they weren't like overly energetic or like super excited. So that, to counter that, you play like a lot of hits that people know that they'll definitely like go crazy and put their arms up to.
Hmm.
So you kind of like play a game, right? Like give them what they want, give them what they need. But in
Hmm.
Europe, you could just give them what they need, like just give them stuff they've never heard before, and most of the time it works. So I feel like I've been able to be a lot more creative and like experimental in my sets out here,
Oh, hmm.
which is weird to think about because I'm also being more niche than ever. So I don't know. There's a lot of like counter arguments to what I'm saying as I'm saying it out loud.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. It's definitely cool. I like the energy. I'm still figuring it out.
And I know in the past few months you have done a few shows back in the States. What with while now being a Berlin resident, how do you feel? How has your time in Europe changed your perception of your American shows? Like, what are your thoughts on the US and North America?
What's interesting is that the only shows that I kept, because when I decided to move, I had to kind of clear most of my calendar in order to make it work. Um, but I wanted to keep the shows that were like sentimental and important to me. So I kept like the Never Be Alone showcase in California. I kept Dr. Greco's festival in Florida because he's on my label, and like both of those events are just like Never Be Alone summer camps, basically. It was really cute getting to meet
Mhm.
all of the artists for the first time. Aside from that, like I did a Pride event because Pride's important to me, and I did like this new hard groove collective that's coming out of San Diego. I did one of their events, but because everything is up to me and I'm in control, I'm only doing specific things that are exactly what I want to be doing, where I can go in and I can play exactly what I want to play and is like on brand with me or with like my label or the people I'm associating with. So the shows have been amazing, honestly. It's like I feel like I'm putting myself in the places that I want to be in and that are important to me.
Oh, that's so awesome to hear. And I feel the same way. I feel like in the US, it seems like there's so many people here who are excited and interested and knowledgeable about, the kind of music you're doing. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I just hope that it keeps on growing out here as well. And yeah, it's kind of funny. I mean, I feel like with your agent who dropped you, while you were selling out shows, it's like so funny how sometimes like there can be a disconnect between maybe the industry versus, the fans and what the crowd is ready for. And I hope that that all catches up, which I feel like I really do think it's going to continue to happen in the US for, the faster, groovier, dance music. It's super interesting. Um, I think one thing that would be fun to talk about would be maybe some of the music that we've made together, and maybe I'll do like a little track breakdown for you know, one of our collabs. And maybe, yeah, Amber, if you're cool with it, maybe I'll tell a little bit of our story in San Diego together.
Yeah, love that.
Sick. So, um, Amber, just to give a little bit of context, Amber and I have been friends for a very long time. We first met playing a festival called Holy Ship. I think that was where we first met, maybe 2017 or so. And um, we ended up playing, different festivals here and there. And I remember with that first time we met, Amber, I don't know if you remember this. So Holy Ship, it's a festival on a cruise, and you're stuck on the boat for 4 or 5 days, and it's very common for DJs to do multiple sets. And I accidentally slept in through one of my performances. And then I don't know if this was like I, I feel like I don't know if you even knew that, but you then invited me to back with you at one of your sets at the same stage. And that was just such a kind, sweet, completely unnecessary thing to do. But I was just like, oh, yeah, I just remember that being so fun and such a
I
highlight.
don't I don't even think I knew that you had missed your set. I
Uh-huh.
think I was just a really big fan of you. And I was
Oh.
like, Justin, do you want to come B2B with me? Like I don't think I even knew that. I think, yeah, I've been a fan of Justin for way longer than before I met him. That's for sure.
Oh, that's so
Like I was
sweet.
probably playing your songs at the Sheraton, like no lie.
That's crazy.
Thinking that you were way older because you're so good at producing so young.
That is crazy. I love that. So, and I feel like Amber and I, we've both been artists who like, I feel like many artists, they struggle with this feeling of like needing to be in a box. And I think one very quirky thing that both of us share is both of us built very, very, successful, solid careers as DJs, and then decided to stop DJing and start playing live as bands. um, and, I just feel like Amber is definitely someone who embodies this feeling of like, if you're an artist, there are no fucking rules. You can do whatever you want. You can follow your heart, even when everyone around you is saying, this is crazy, this is stupid, no one will understand this. And that you can come out on the other side of that and prove everyone wrong. Amber, I don't know, did you ever feel that way when you were starting your band and doing those live shows?
Oh yeah, for sure. I just remember like when I would tell people what I was doing, they would look at me and they'd be like, "Wow, you're so brave." And I'd be like, "Fuck, I'm fucking up right now." Like that's what that means. Basically you're so brave is like, "Why would you do this?" Like you have it I already had like a established DJ career. Like the smart thing to do would have been like keep going down like one of those paths, like pick a genre and just like keep doing that. But
Mhm.
yeah, no, I don't know. I think if you're a real artist, like you can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again. I mean, some people can, like the people that are masters of their own crafts, like I wish I could be like that sometimes. But even them, it's like I'm sure one day like they might like just change their mind and be like, oh, I'm gonna try something different just because I want to. Um, and I think for me, I was feeling a little burnt out DJing, and the music that I was making was like indie music, and I wasn't able to DJ the music that I was making. So I was like, it's a very emotional period for me as well. So I was like just going through a lot, making sad music, trying to figure out how to perform it. So starting an indie band was the my solution to that. And also it just like I wanted to prove that I could do something that was like really, really hard and something that I've never done before. So yeah, I chose that time. Did I come
It's
back DJing after? Like, was Nick Monaco correct when he's like, babes, maybe you might lose all your money if you do a band? And I was like, no, I'll be good.
You know, it
That's
well,
very
it's just
that's
I feel like it's
crazy.
just so, like the degree to which artists are actually able to do whatever they want. It's just like I feel like a lot of people don't appreciate that, and many artists don't run the with the freedom that they actually have. And I feel like, you starting a band, singing, songs that you may have written just using your voice and an acoustic guitar. I feel like that sort of energy of just doing whatever is true and authentic to you and not compromising that and then just making it happen, not giving up. It's so inspiring. So I feel like it's cool to touch upon that. That was like another chapter that we both shared. I did the same, starting a band.
You're the
Not
only
not
other person I know that's done that too. Like really, like in the same like indie type of world, like to go from DJing to indie music back to DJing.
100%, 100%. And then I think that sort of brings us up to March of 2024, where both of us had, really gravitated back to DJing and back to, dance music. And it was so funny. I just like a really awesome story. So Amber posts on her Instagram story that she's in LA and I'm visiting family and I'm in town. And so I messaged her and I'm like, hey, I'm free. Like, would love to hang out, see you. And we end up going to, she's like, oh, there's actually like a bunch of things that I'm doing tonight. I might DJ a little party in Koreatown, but I'm also going to like a friend's release party. And so I'm like, oh, cool. It just sounds like a great adventure. And, we meet up, we're driving across town. There's all these, conversations. She's filling me in about getting dropped by her agent, which I didn't know. And she hadn't talked about it publicly online. It seems like it was pretty fresh. And, we were catching up on so many deep levels, just like a really great friend that, I hadn't seen in a long time. And the more we talked and the more we talked about music, the more I was like, oh, whoa, Amber is so into a lot of the same things that I'm interested in. And it feels like we're kind of out there on our own, without much community around us. And there was, a defining moment in our night of adventures, where I was like, yo, Amber, what are you doing tomorrow? And she's like, nothing, I'm around. And I was like, Amber, I'm going down to San Diego to DJ Cross Festival. And, we're talking about all this music. I'm like, it's artists like DJ Heartstring, X Club, Kiki, Party Boy 69, Sammy Vergi, like all these just awesome artists are playing, and Bad Boombox as well. And I was like, yo, like, do you want to just come with me for the whole weekend and we'll like go see all this great music and just hang out a bunch and maybe even make some music together? And I said it just being like, I don't know, it's not often that like a professional DJ is down to just like last minute send it to a festival just for fun. And Amber being a real one who like loves the music is like 100%. I'm in.
No, Amber being a person that just got dropped from her agent needs to go out and make some connections.
Dude,
That's
she says yes. I feel like it was funny. I remember even like texting you in the morning being like, yo, I found like some Airbnb options that we could both, be comfortable at. Cause like initially I was planning on just driving down and coming right back up. And she was like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like in shock because I just didn't think, I was like, no way, like, let's go. And we set forth on this adventure to San Diego. And one of the funniest things that happened was I, there's been times in my career where I've been really keen on like back-to-backs and impromptu house parties. I mean, I feel like that's just one of my favorite. A house party after party is one of my favorite things. And there's just this really funny moment where Amber helped run around with me through the whole festival and the after parties, convincing all these DJs to come after party with us. And I think we convinced Sammy Vergi, DJ Heartstring, X Club, and Party 69. I think Kiki also came, all to come to this house party for like 20 people.
And we were
And
all the last ones at the house party that morning
yes,
too. It's the
yeah.
best part. Like, but suddenly I look up and like we're like on the roof of this house, and the only ones left are like all of the DJs that we brought.
I remember one of my favorite moments is this house party. The homeowner is like an adult in his 50s maybe, and he meets Party Boy 69, and I overhear them chatting or maybe walking to the roof to see the sunrise at the end of the party. And Party Boy and this older gentleman, or this like adult, are really like connecting. And the guy's like, so what's your DJ name? And Party Boy is like, oh man, it's Party Boy 69. And to hear
We
him
all
like
just started cracking
really
up.
embarrassed telling his DJ name to this adult was just like really, it was really endearing. It's super cute. But uh, just fun stories aside, I think it was funny because Amber, like I DJ'd with Bad Boombox, all of us hung out even briefly, and here we are now. You've made the move, you're on Bad Boombox's roster. I think like an important part of that weekend also was we ended up making 2 songs together. And I feel like this was kind of a very fun exercise that like I feel like it's just like a really good one. I asked Amber like what was some of the music that she got into when she like first fell in love with DJing, and she talked about being a disco house DJ. And I was like, oh, disco. I mean, I love disco. And was like, in the context of everything that we were talking about with hard groove and, the groovier techno stuff, I was like, I feel like disco is like pretty underrepresented. And we ended up, I asked her like, show me some of your favorite like classic house and disco tracks. And she showed me a song by Pepe Braddock with
So good.
this famous Happy People sample. And we literally made a song maybe in an hour and a half before going to the festival for fun. And did it on our laptop speakers on the dining room table in our Airbnb with just our computers open and made our first track in this style. And then at the end of the weekend, I'm dropping Amber off at her Airbnb. We're both tired, a little hungover from the adventures. And I was like, yo, Amber, could we make another one? And she says yes. And, we just started making these songs that were purely inspired by, you know, an exchange of like Amber showing me music that she really loved and us connecting over that inspiration. I think the second song we made has the sample and the music began to play. And I think that one was also funny because I love that sample, but we heard Armin van Helden play a version of the same sample when we went to the festival for fun. And we both loved that set and had so much fun. And we were then like, well, what if we flip that? And so it's just funny because we've had this journey of just like not overthinking, sort of like, what is the sound you're supposed to do, but just like make music that's really true to yourself. And, you know, it's funny, those two songs that I just mentioned, Bad Boombox started playing them. And I think that played a pretty big role in then the two of us, getting deeper into that crew. And maybe one last, sort of stop along our journey. I we then agreed to go to Berlin together for the whole month of June, mostly just for fun and inspiration. And, just kind of like this, I feel like this is like a reoccurring thread from going to the festival for fun to like going to Europe. Like, I feel like both of us were connecting with the love of the music as a fan, even, like both of us went to Europe not because we had incredible tours lined up, although Amber did hustle a pretty impressive run of shows after deciding to go. She was like, I'm going to go to Europe. Let's see if I can get any shows. And then it was like her agent skills just came in hot, and wait, what'd you say?
I just said yes to everything. I was like, you'll let me play? Perfect.
Amazing.
I get
She knows,
paid, great.
but you also really do know how to shoot your shot. And yeah, hustled some awesome shows. But, both of us, I feel like there's so much. I feel like if you're ever feeling lost as an artist, you don't know what to do, you don't know where to go. I feel like the ultimate guiding compass is your enjoyment, your excitement, and your love for music. It's like if go to an event and if you feel, drawn to something, chase that feeling, because I think that's where the magic really is. Amber, I don't know. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. No, after sending it to Cross with you, I was so inspired. Like if that trip hadn't have happened, I honestly like I don't know where I would be exactly. Like I might be like somewhere like kind of adjacent to where I am right now, but I feel like that was like such, I don't know, it was really, really inspiring. I went with the intention of making connections. And realistically, like, yeah, I made some connections. I met people. I didn't like connect super hard with them while I was there. But one thing also about going anywhere with Justin is that so much music is going to come out of it because this man never stops. And like that's the type of energy that I need in my life because I'm very laid back and very, very go with the flow, chill type of person. But Justin's like just always on it. He's like excited to like make new things, even in the times where like you don't think it's possible. Like you can't make a song in 15 minutes before you're about to go DJ right now. And he's like, watch this. So I feel like having that energy on top of like all the people that you brought, like that you would introduce me to and that you brought to that house party was like it's almost like like what do you call it? Like foreshadowing as to like where I was going to be like a few months later, in regards to like getting real knowledge of like all the music and that was going off in Europe that we're really adjacent to, and that we're inspired by.
100%, 100%. And I appreciate the kind words. Yeah, I don't know. And for me, it's funny, like making music is ultimately it's just like a fun activity, not too different from like I was into video games growing up. To me, it's just like you're on your computer clicking buttons,
Yeah.
making bleeps and bloops and noises. And I feel like the more that it can feel fun, the better.
You helped me get out of like a a creative rut almost in a way just by simply reminding me that like it doesn't have to be that serious. Like it can just be for fun. Like
Mhm.
not everything you make has to be like, oh, this is like 100% original and I spent so many hours on this. Like sometimes if you just want to make something for fun, you can just flip something else and like it's just, it's for your DJ sets, it's for SoundCloud, it's for whatever.
Mhm.
And those are some of the most inspiring sessions and the inspiring songs that I've made is like, just in those fleeting moments.
Oh, yes, yes. It's so easy to get lost in taking things too seriously or putting too much pressure, being like, is this song going to be a hit? Is this song going to get signed? Is this song going to be loved by people? And I feel like all of those thoughts are really distracting and unproductive for making music. Versus when you are just connecting with like the love, the fun, the emotion, and because I think, Amber, you talked about briefly about, when you were writing songs for, your live show, you didn't do it with the live show in mind, but you were just feeling, any array of different emotions, and whatever you're feeling, you can channel that into your music. And I feel like as long as you have, I feel like making music can either be therapeutic or it can be like a lighthearted game, or it can be both. And I think, it just never needs to be this serious, stressful thing. It doesn't need to be filled with pressure and judgment. And I feel like the irony is when you really let go of all those expectations of like, how good is this song or whatnot, and just like get lost in the joy of it, you are the most likely to find the magic.
100% true.
Let's go. So I think on that note, I feel like it'd be fun to open it up to some Q&A from the crowd. But also first, real quick, just want to give people a heads up. I am, for those that don't know, I do some music teaching classes, and also like free teaching stuff too. And this year, it's crazy. It's been the first time in a long time that I've had to take like a pretty much like almost a full year break from doing any of that stuff, with just how busy everything's been with, touring
You're
and,
going
and
to
traveling.
Europe every week.
It's the Europe trips. The Europe trips have been crazy.
I don't know how you do it, honestly.
Yeah, it's been wild. I'm heading to Europe for my sixth trip to Europe since April. Playing London, Amsterdam, and Berlin this month. Super excited. But for anyone who is interested in doing like if you've never made music before and are curious about dipping your toes into it, I do this like free Thanksgiving workshop every year, and this year, it'll be the last weekend of November. If you're interested in that, just keep your eyes out on the email list that you're now a part of, because I'll shoot little messages. But super fun. It's normally called the 909 challenge, where we just have fun with the 909 drum machine. And I've had people who've done it multiple times, and it's like just this free workshop that takes place over a weekend. And I've had people who do it multiple times who like will make a song, and then that song will get signed, and it'll be something that they made in an hour or one weekend. So it's really fun, really awesome. Every single one of you should roll through, because it's just such a good time, and it's so easy, even if you've never made music before. It's such a good starting point. And even if you are more experienced, it's a real exercise in simplicity. And then also at the end of this year, I'm going to do another music boot camp where it's a little bit more intense. It's kind of like almost like a college class condensed into 6 weeks of making music and a little bit of music industry, career development stuff too. Super fun. It's one of my favorite things every year. It is filled up every year that we've done it. So I wanted to just give people the heads up to apply if you're interested before it fills up, because that is the most unfortunate thing, is that it is like there's limited space. And my friend and colleague Kate is dropping links for anyone who's tempted to apply. You definitely don't need to do this, but it's just something for anyone who wants to go a little bit deeper. It's really, really fun. But come to the Thanksgiving workshop. I'll post more details on that, and it's going to be just a blast. So thank you all for putting up with me talking about all the classes. Let's move into some Q&A. Any questions, that you have for Mija or myself, feel free to drop them in the chat, and I will, what's it called? I will try to moderate and help answer some questions. Amber, does this all sound cool with you?
Yes.
Okay, sweet. Okay, boom. All right. Let's see. And yeah, thank you guys for sticking around. And Mija, thank you for hanging out. I know it's getting a little late in Europe.
Thanks for having me.
Amazing. Okay, cool. And all right, let's get into it. Uh let's see. Okay, let me pick and choose some questions. Okay, let me read this. How do you manage the pressure to release work before feeling fully ready, especially when balancing self-critique and authenticity? So yeah, any thoughts on grappling with self-judgment as you're releasing music?
I think just release it. I think that it's not that big of a deal. I think you're thinking about it harder than anybody else is thinking about it.
Mhm.
I feel like there's been times in my career that I didn't drop songs that, I guess now they wouldn't really make sense, but at the time they would have made sense. And I was just like, oh, this isn't good enough. So I'm just not going to do anything with it. And I'd look back years and be like, oh man, I missed that. Like I should have released that. That would have worked at that point. So you don't really know until you have context later, but you are your own worst critic. And I think that, just by putting something out, even if it's like where you're at right now and not exactly where you want to be, even if it's just on SoundCloud, I think that might even be like a better way of doing it, like SoundCloud Bandcamp stuff, if you're worried about your first introduction to like DSPs, putting songs out on like Spotify and stuff. But just drop it on the internet and see what happens. Like somebody might like it, maybe something will happen. If nothing happens, like that's the worst case scenario, right?
100%. And I feel like this mindset, I feel like is another winning. I feel like this is like another one of your superpowers, Amber. Like so many people get caught in the self-judgment and then maybe analysis paralysis, second guessing, is this good enough? Should I release this? Will everyone like it? I don't know. And I feel like what you just said highlights your fearlessness and just, I feel like when you put yourself out there, you have the chance of being rewarded versus you miss all the shots you don't take, right?
Yeah. And then like, will everybody like it? Well, probably not. Who cares? Do you like it? Like that's what I think is most important. And even if like only 10 people like it, but those 10 people really, really like it,
Yeah.
there's a threshold there, like the quality of the people listening to your music and how much they actually resonate with it versus like the quantity of how many people are passively listening to your music. There's something to be said there. Like it's good to have a balance. So even if your song only touches like 10 people, that's amazing. Like those 10 people are probably stoked.
100%. 100%. Oh, all right. Let me keep on reading. Justin, what kind of set do you prepare for London, Amsterdam, Berlin club scene? These days I feel like I'm playing a lot of stuff that's like 140 to 150 groovy. I feel like I love the scene that Amber and I are a part of because it feels so free. You can play so many different styles of music from like, speed garage to proper techno to hard groove stuff. You can speed up old house songs, you can play trance, you can sneak in some dubstep because it's the same BPM. It's super easy, super fun. That is my answer to that question. Amber, is there anything that you're feeling these days for your DJ sets? Could be genres, could be artists, labels, your own stuff. What's exciting you when it comes to DJing?
I think I'm in like a 145 to 148 zone right now.
Mhm.
A lot of the same, like a lot of like what sounds like a sped up house track, but with like a harder groove underneath it. The Berlin trance thing is also very cute sometimes. So like I'll go through like little segments of doing a little bit more of like the Berlin trance stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I secretly like Strands, but I won't tell anybody that. But like every now, if I can find like a Strand song that's like not too crazy, that's like disco oriented, like the really like the disco strands. I don't know why, like it gets me. Um, Yeah, I like putting like elements of like house and disco on top of these like harder grooves. That's kind of where my brain's at. But I also love it when like it goes through like Latin rhythms or like all these different types of, I don't know, like 140 era is like such a good BPM that has like so many different rhythms and like different ways you can go with it, but like it's all kind of close enough to the same BPM where you can mix them well together.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm trying to also play a lot of our songs mostly. That's like my goal is I'm just spewing our songs across Europe in my set.
Amazing. Oh, here's a fun one. Can I have another hot phone for a hot boy?
Oh no, we already gave away all our hot phones.
Those were so awesome.
We had over 2,000 submissions for those songs.
That's crazy.
I was like, you guys have to use a randomizer. I can't, like that's so many people.
Amazing. Okay, let me keep on reading. How do you avoid losing yourself to external feedback or industry trends while still growing as an artist?
That's a good question. Want me to go first?
Yeah, go for it.
Um, I think that I try to avoid that by only asking advice from people who I respect their work, respect their opinions and their taste. Um, People that are kind of maybe doing a similar things to me, like mostly like my close like producer friends. Those are the people that I'll like reach out to and show things to and like seek out production advice or like mixing advice or something like that. But in doing so, I always try not to like I try to take everything with a grain of salt. Like if I don't like their opinion, that's okay. I don't have to like get upset or like change my way of thinking just to still like get good use out of their advice. Um, as far as the trends go, I mean, I would be a hypocrite if I said that I didn't like fall into trends from time to time because I think it's really fun and easy to do.
Mhm.
But I think you can make trends work for you as long as you figure out how to include your own style into it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I feel like in terms of trends, I feel like when you identify it as a trend, that can make it seem more like a business decision or a strategy thing. I feel like for me, I feel like the more that it can be framed as just like, yo, I love finding new music. And when I find something I like, it inspires me. And I feel like it would be a shame not to keep your eyes out for new music that's coming out because you're going to miss so much great stuff and miss out on so much great inspiration. And I think, you know, I feel like digging and finding stuff that really speaks to you is kind of one of the core aspects of DJing. It's like anything out there is accessible. It's like, can you find what speaks to you, and what makes you want to dance around your bedroom at, like 1 a.m. on a weeknight, because you just think this song is so awesome. I feel like for me, that's how I think about it. And then when you find a song that speaks to you, like, can you go down the rabbit hole of like, well, what songs did that artist also make? And is there anything else you like? Or where did those songs come out? Are there other songs on those labels that are really speaking to you? And I think when you just go down the rabbit holes, I think that's where you take in the inspiration and it's almost like eating your vegetables and then it becomes a part of you, versus, let me identify a trend and then copy it. It's like those
Try to
things are
find songs in this trend. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah.
100%. Let's see. So I see some questions about seeing a track breakdown, which I'm down to do a super quick one. I know it's getting pretty late for you, Amber. Maybe I'm thinking maybe can we do like maybe one or two questions and then I'll do this track breakdown and then we'll call it a day. Does that sound chill?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Can y'all give me something to dance to? Hopefully, yes. Olivia, Amber, you were telling a story and said, as soon as people respected me as a house DJ, when was that? When did you feel like you earned that respect as an artist? Thoughts on imposter syndrome?
Oh yeah, okay, two different things. Well, the first one when I would say 2013 is when I felt like I was finally respected, and that's because I got to open for the Blessed Madonna, and I had to work really hard for that opening time slot. So I got to prove myself, and then I was like, okay, I finally made it because like the Blessed Madonna is so iconic. So that's kind of when I felt like I made it. And also when I did a set on vinyl for the first time and with a Yuri rotary mixer, it was the first time that I was like, yeah, okay, that's cool. Like I'm doing something that only like the heads would do. That's always, those are always been my favorite people to impress. Like I don't really care about like making the whole crowd go crazy. I just want to impress the heads, like the people that have done the digging and that know. So that's kind of what I meant along that side. Imposter syndrome, I've felt that for most of my career, but that didn't start until 2014, 2015. Because I'd only been DJing for a few years, maybe like 3 years at that point, and I had just bought in a laptop with Ableton on it, literally like 2 weeks before my career kind of popped off as a DJ. So I had imposter syndrome for very most of like the first 5 years of Mija. I had it because I was like, okay, I'm gaining this popularity, and like I'm supposed to be like a really good producer, but actually I'm just learning how to produce.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, feeling that for a long time, being like, oh, I'm not good enough was like, or am I good? Am I as good as everybody thinks that I am? Like that was a struggle.
100%. Here's kind of like an interesting follow-up question on some of these topics. I'm really good at networking, but for some reason have a hard time asking for gigs because I've only played out a few times. This person's debuted on the decks this year. Can you touch on converting the networking into gigs?
Here's one piece of advice that I give all of my friends who are just starting out. Don't be afraid to ask for things. You will never get what you want unless you ask for it. People aren't just going to give you things. And you would be surprised by how many times the answer will be yes, even if you're like fully expecting it to be no. Like, don't be like annoying and ask the same thing over and over again to like the same person. But like, I don't know, if you're like, I want to play this party and I see the promoter that books these people right standing right there, like, don't be afraid to go up and just introduce yourself and like tell them who you are and be like, ask for an opening slot at one of their next events. Like, I don't know. I think there's a lot of power in just asking, declaring what you want to the universe.
That is so inspiring. I feel like I hope everyone really takes that to heart.
And being okay with rejection too, because like that'll happen inevitably.
Yeah. Oh, that's so inspiring. I feel like it's just so easy to be, paralyzed by fear and not even ask, not even put yourself out there because it's a way to keep yourself safe versus the vulnerability of asking.
I do have one more thing to say about converting connections into actual work. One thing that I learned is that people are more likely to work with people who they want to hang out with, like people who are just like chill. They're not like trying to be like the center, like the top attention in the room. Like they're not, you don't have to be over the top. Like you just have to be like polite and kind and respectful and nice to be around. And oftentimes like having a little bit of skill with like some good taste plus just being a pleasant person will get you so far.
And Amber, you are just such a delightful person to hang out with. I feel like you really embody that where, you know, it's just it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, yeah, it's just it's wild because I've been with Amber through, like touring and stuff like that. And there can be times where, you know, it's, crazy travel, sleep cycle stuff. You're like pushed pretty hard physically. And have Amber's just always so calm, so relaxed, so lovely, and has just such an amazing disposition. That is definitely a huge superpower. And basic, being really polite and just like lovely. Yeah, like any, how did you cultivate that? Like, have you always just
Like
been,
I'm just always this lovely,
oh,
Justin.
it's amazing.
No, I'm naturally a very patient, very like, I mean, I was taught really good manners growing up. I've always kind of been like this. So it comes naturally to me to just like want to get along with everybody. I'm not saying that like it works. I mean, some people can just like create whole personas that are like the opposite of that and like get really big. So there's that approach too. But I think that the one that has more longevity and is more likely to work is being nice.
And it's interesting because you have this combination of being like really, you're really kind, just like polite, like easygoing person, but you're also courageous when it comes to shooting your shot and putting yourself out there. And I feel like you're also someone who strikes me as like, when someone does tell you no, you might not like nag at them, but you also won't give up, right? Is that fair to
No,
say?
I'll find a new way to do it.
Yeah.
I kind of thrive in those situations. I thrive in a challenge. If someone tells me no, I'll be like, well, fine, then I'll go do it my way. Or I'll go do
Yes.
it this way, or I'll find somebody else that gets it. So yeah, just believing in yourself is really like is also very, very important.
Oh, so badass. It's amazing. Yeah, just like, yeah, I'm so glad like we've gotten the chance to talk about some of these questions. I'm gonna do a super quick track breakdown of a song that Amber and I made over the summer. And Amber, we can like at any point if you need to go, because I know it's getting late, you're welcome to. And we'll many more occasions for us all to hang out on Zoom. I hope to keep doing more of these types of homie hangs as well. They're so fun to do. All right, so should we talk about Summer Groove real quick?
Let's do it.
Okay, sick. The context, I'm going to pull up the project. The context of this was really funny because pretty much I snuck into the artist area at a festival in Scotland. And I had gotten caught in a hailstorm on the way into the festival, was drenched in like water. And then somehow I'd bought a wristband. I was like GA and ran into some artist friends of mine who were playing, and they saw me looking really soggy, and they ended up helping sneak me into the artist area. And I met this guy Maluji, who's runs a label Club Heartbroken with Marlon Hofstadt. He was super nice, and he'd heard one of my songs that had come out on Lobster Theremin, which is a label that got shut down about 2 years ago. But he was so kind, so friendly. Maybe took pity on how drenched I was, but he was like, "Let's keep in touch." And months later, I got word that he was looking for songs for his label, and he was like, "Send something by Friday." And it was Thursday, and I didn't have anything that I feel like was going to fit. But Amber and I were in Berlin together, and I was like, "Yo, Amber, do you have time to hop on Ableton and make a
Justin
song
ran in the
together?"
room. Justin runs in the room and he's like, guys, let's make a song right now for Club Heartbroken. We're so excited.
So funny. And so I will tell the full story of how this track came to. So it's pretty cheeky. Oh God. So pretty much I was like,
where were we right before we made this song?
where were we?
Yeah.
Did we had just gone to Berghain for the first time. Yes, we had just gone to Berghain for the first time. So I was like, we have very little time to make a song, but we were both feeling inspired. And so the very first thing I did is so silly. So I was like, okay, Malugi, Club Heartbroken. I went to the club, I like looked through the discography, and there's the song that Malugi and Narcissus made, and I really loved the drum loop. And so I actually started the whole track by sampling their drum loop. And really quickly this bass line came together using a plugin called Aspire. And there's a preset that my friend Danny showed me, who's living with us, called BR Lately 2016. And I think Marlon Hofstadt might use it. But so pretty much when I started the beat, I just checked this loop on, and then we were sitting around the table on laptop speakers, and I was just like throwing these different ideas together using the clip launch, which is just a way to like audition ideas. But I think, I pretty much just, let's see, there's like the bass line, and I just was kind of jamming on the keyboard, and we found this. And I'm also a big fan of, there's this synth called Rave Generator, which used to be free and now costs money, but the samples are still free and easy to use. And so I went through my like rave samples folder. I can send these out to people. They're super fun. But just like to give people a sense of what these samples sound like. By the way, I just want to check. My audio is working, right? Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear my, okay, sick. But it just has these old audio files taken from rave songs. And I took this one, the Twilight Bep. And you can see there's a tiny bit of reverb and a tiny bit of EQ, but the whole basis of the track is really just these three things: the bass line, the drum loop, and the synth lead. Oh wait, oops, this is actually not the final version. It actually doesn't change too much, but I second guessed the bass line rhythm and changed it. And then like it's so funny. The essence for this idea came together so quickly, but then there was so much time spent second guessing everything. And I'm going to play you the final bass line, and you're going to be like, that sounds pretty much identical. But bass line, drum loop, and a synth lead. Here, let me turn up the volume. Here we go. So that took, a few minutes, but I was showing Amber, the different ideas, and she helped guide. There were different iterations of these synth melodies and these bass lines, and sometimes it's just so helpful to have a friend collaborate with you to help guide the process and be like, I was kind of like throwing a bunch of stuff, and Amber helped guide, like, oh, I'm really into this. This is really working. I wonder if I can even find some of the other examples. They might be messy, but let's see. Yeah, here, that's reverby. But, here was like, so there were just different ideas. That became the bass line. Anyways, sometimes you just got to throw a bunch of stuff at the wall, and you might not have objectivity in terms of what's working. But my favorite way to collaborate is if you and your friend, your collaborator, can throw shit at the wall and then figure out what are you the most excited about. And you don't have to even delete things. You can just put things aside, come back to them later. And some of those other ideas could be for different songs or be useful later in the track you're working on, but you just shotgun ideas, see what sticks. And the whole track production, kick drum, bass, the kick drum, let's see what's on it. There's literally no processing on this kick drum. Bass line has a little bit of EQ for filter automation. Let's see, there's a sub, which is just the same preset an octave down with the highs rolled off. So maybe that adds a little bit of depth. Honestly, I don't even notice it. That was probably unnecessary. Me like getting lost in, maybe some insecurities, being like, we need a little bit more sub, but it doesn't actually change anything. For drums, there's the main loop, which I told Maluji about, and he was like, no way. Maybe that's what. And then hi-hat clap, just to try to like reinforce, to disguise the loops so that it doesn't sound exactly like the other song. But it's pretty much just that. Some top loops. That one's kind of got some shakers, more chunky hats, more 909s. I feel like I was really insecure, honestly, about the drum loop that I threw in. So I was like, Amber, we got to cover it up with stuff. But it's like, how different is it? Like not that different. It's just so funny. Lead synth, and then snuck in this little, that, is that even in there? Yeah, I guess I just like, layered that. But, so Amber and I, we came up with this beat together, and then we, we were like, what should we add? And Amber got really inspired to sing, and we, recorded this amazing vocal that we, it was so crazy. I was like, what if we divide and conquer? Like I had like the initial loop printed for her to listen to, and she went into one of the other rooms in the Airbnb and pretty much wrote I would say like 99% of the whole song in like 30 seconds or like maybe like
30
realistically
minutes.
30 minutes, like realistically, like, I don't know.
The last line though is what took us the longest. There's like it's always like the last 10% where you're like, everything is perfect except for like, what is this one? And Justin fucking nailed that.
But dude, it's so crazy. Like I wonder if I even have the original voice memo in this project. It must be somewhere,
Yeah,
but
because I recorded it. I went into the other room and I just recorded it on my iPhone. I like played the song really quietly on laptop and then just like recorded scratch vocals into my iPhone and then came back and it's like, guys, I came up with something.
and it's just like, it's insane because I feel like sometimes that when you don't overthink things and just capture the moment with even like an iPhone voice memo, I feel like so much magic comes out. And Amber, do you want to talk a little bit about what this song is about and what the lyrics mean to you?
Yeah. So I'm sitting in another room and I'm like, okay, we're writing a song. We're in Berlin. Like I'm trying to do this thing now where I just write songs like based on like what's going on around me, what I'm experiencing. And also Justin like taught me this trick for songwriting, which is like show and tell. It's a very common thing. I had never heard of it before, so thank you, Justin. But it's like where you use one line to show the listener what you're talking about, and then use the next line to like tell them something, and you kind of bounce back and forth. So I was trying to like think of that, keep that in the back of my head while writing it, and I wanted to write about what we were doing. So like the lyrics are like things are changing and escalating, might have lost my mind because, all of these things and like we're in Berlin, like we're going to all these nightclubs, like everything is kind of bubbling up. We know we can feel like something is happening, but like it's all bubbling to the surface. Bodies moving, some are grooving, going out every night, literally us on the dance floor every night somewhere in Berlin. Talking about the sweat dripping down the walls of Berghain, or like, I'm not even just Berghain, honestly, Kit Kat, like any of the places they could honestly be like used for. But my favorite line of the whole thing, give me something to dance to, or no. Before that, I'm gonna take that. The you got all the moves line. That line was specifically about our dear friend Danny, aka Gusted, because the whole trip he was teaching us how to dance like a true Berliner. Like he's got the dancers on his algorithm and he's like a good dancer and he's nailed it down. It's like the little hands thing or whatever. And so the whole time I was just like watching Danny dance and I was like, you are such a sick dancer. So that line is specifically about him.
That makes me so happy. Shout out Danny, shout out Gusted. Check out his music. He's amazing. And yeah, he was actually in the room with us as we wrote the song, and gave him a shout out on the production credits too, and was just, helping guide the choices and saying like, ooh, I like this, I like that. Really, really helpful. I don't know. I just feel like making music by yourself, sometimes it's really beautiful and amazing. But I love making music with friends because it's such a fun group activity. And I think when you have other people around you, you you can avoid, you might scrap something great until your friend says, no, this is actually cool. Or your friend might push you in ways that inspire you in ways that you wouldn't explore otherwise. And I don't know, I feel like often it's often when I collaborate, so often it's like something my friend does that becomes my favorite part of the song because I'm like, I never would have thought of that. So awesome. Just to round out this track breakdown, let's see, it is a really simple song. The other element that I forgot to talk about, there's this little sample from the rave folder, and that just does that. And it's funny, the initial demo that got signed didn't have any other sounds. And I was like a little insecure because I felt like the track felt a little too simple. And so some of the details that I added may be unnecessary, but I layered these plucks on top of the bass line for a few sections, which just follow the bass. This sound is another Spire preset. It's called Pike. And there's like an LFO tool that I turned off. There's some side chaining that's not even doing anything. This is not even on. It's no output. So this is like, this can be deleted. This can be deleted. This can be deleted.
How many compressors you got on there?
Yeah, dude, you know,
he really thought about compressing it and then kept changing his mind.
Probably. And it was just funny, like see, this is the problem. They were asking for the final, pre-master, and Amber and I were not together. And so like, I didn't have Amber there to help me say it's fine, and it was just like, it was very much like a, so easy to go into these rabbit holes of like, putting plugins that you don't need, that you then turn off and it sounds fine without them, just like what Amber was saying. And it's funny, there's just a little bit of saturation and EQ just to make it louder. It's funny, same shit here. This is completely unnecessary. Not even doing anything. These plugins are off.
That's part of the process though. Is like you have something and then it's like probably perfect, and then you have to spend like that extra like few days just like overcooking it just to realize that you've overcooked it, just to take everything back off again and realize that you probably had it really close the first time.
I know. Well, sometimes I feel like sometimes I'll skip that second guessing phase when I'm truly in the like, I don't give a fuck energy, and it works out too. But it's like sometimes it's exactly what you just said, and you're just.
But honestly, sometimes on the other hand, it's like those plucks are really necessary. Like they add so much like just niceness to it. Like, you know what I mean? Like
I appreciate it.
Works
yeah, and hey, at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter. Like it's just music. And I feel like every great song can have a remix and exist in different versions. It's like, I feel like at the end of the day, none of this shit matters. But for the sake of this track breakdown, what's happening with these plucks is they're playing different notes from the bass line. There's a little bit of music theory kind of stuff. So the bass line is playing the root of the chord, which, would be here. If I do this, you should be able to hear. So the bass is playing the F, the C, C sharp, D sharp. Doesn't really matter what the notes are. It's just, that's the bass line. Whatever notes the bass line plays becomes kind of the foundation of the chords. It's the lowest note, and you build stuff on top of it. And so this melody, guitar high, plays the third, which is either 4 or 3 steps above the bass line, depending on if it's major or minor. But you pretty much can just drag notes up and down until something feels good. But you can see it just completely follows it. It just repeats. And then there's a second layer what is this doing? This is just doubling the bass. So same exact notes as the bass line, but just 1 octave higher. You can see F, C, C sharp, just like the bass. So this just gives, like a higher tone to the same note, plus the third. And there is some filter automation. Here it is. Okay, so pretty much if I take this off, it's really bright and full, but by just putting this filter on, automating the cutoff, we get motion through this sound. Well, there are a couple more like background synth layers. That's pretty much just doubling. This is playing the exact same notes, but an octave higher. So I feel like a lot of this, a lot of this production stuff, it can be a really simple idea, like that lead melody and a bass line, and all of these other elements are really just expanding. So these synths, they're just expanding off the bass line. At the end of the song, I use the same melody as the lead. Let's switch it to a little pluck. And I think I just took out a few of the notes. You can hear that in context. Let's see, with everything. Here's the bass. Which feels like a totally different section compared to just because the sound is different and a few notes are taken out. What else is here? Background string.
So important.
That's so important. And some background pads. That's just one note. And one more pad. I think Gusted actually made this pad. And I was like, dude, let's throw it in there. And these stabs might also just follow the bass line just to give one final piece of sort of like stuff. But the interesting thing about this project is, like Amber and I made the demo for it in like an hour and a half with the basic things that I showed you. And so much time was spent adding more things like that I just showed you. And I added them everywhere and made them really big, and it just ruined the song. So I feel like the most important piece of this track was like not doing too much, because the real magic I feel like is mainly in Amber's voice and the song. Here's the vocals. We have for each part a lead vocal and then several layers of background vocals. So this would be like these are all like doubles and harmonies. And there's actually no harmonies. It's just octaves. So same notes, but sung many, many times to create like a very thick vocal sound. Things are changing, escalating. So low octave, but same note. Amber has amazing range and is such an awesome vocalist. As well as producer. She's just like a musical weapon. Might have lost my mind. Body's moving, summer grooving, go out every night. And there is some group processing on these vocals. This just helps keep the low end kind of in control. I think a lot of this processing though, it's like moving, summer grooving. Using these multi-band compressors helps gel all the different layers together so that it doesn't sound like a choir. It just sounds like one really fat, super human vocalist. Things are changing, escalating, might have lost my mind. The lead vocal is really at the front, and then all of these other vocals I think are relatively tucked behind it, which I think makes it pretty satisfying. Gotta get up. I wanna feel it on my body. Then these vocals we just recorded all the sections separately, so that's why they're separated. On my groove, oh, what you gonna do? There is a little riser. I just took a bunch and combined them and then duplicated it twice. Uh, I feel like, vocal ad libs, that's pretty much the track. Maybe one last thing to note in terms of the structure of it, which I haven't talked about. This is a very like trance idea to start the song with just one note from the bass line. And so that's how the song starts, with just that note, and we introduce the vocal. Things are changing, escalating. So this is section 1. Section 2, the chords start getting introduced, but they're also just playing one note. Here are the chords. So those start coming in subtly. So we got bass line, still doing one note, vocals. I wanna feel it on my body, taking it off. And then this first breakdown, very trance idea, take the kick out and reveal the full bass line to give people a chance to get used to it. So you can hear that change. Dance like no one's watching us. Oh, it's a summer groove. Oh, what you gonna do? Oh, you got all the moves. You got all the moves. And I feel like that's pretty nice because we're keeping the one chord the same. It worked under the bass line changes. But because we've established the bass line here on this drop, people are ready for the bass line, and we kind of slam in this lead sound out of nowhere. But if you were getting used to a brand new bass line and a new lead sound, it might be too much. So I think this kind of helps. I feel like often in a breakdown before a drop, it's a good opportunity to establish something that's going to happen. That way the listener can get used to it and be prepared for it. You got all the moves. You got all the moves. Now give me something to dance to. Cut everything, little snare build up, probably stock 909 snare. This looks like, stock 909. And this amazing pre-drop vocal. Now give me something to dance to. I feel like getting that vocal, I feel like that was one of the most challenging things, is just like getting that vocal.
Somebody asked.
Recording.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, what's up? What were the questions?
I was gonna say, somebody asked like if any of the vocals were from the original iPhone, and that was the only one that like up until the very end was the original from the iPhone, because it was so hard for us to like get it like exactly like get the same emotion that came from the demo.
Yeah, it's so true. And sometimes like the iPhone demo just has this magic, but yeah, Amber, I think you did re-record this, and it just now sounds just so dialed in. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole track. There's some ad libs. It's a summer groove. Second verse. Now the second verse, unlike the first verse, was one note bass line. Second verse begins one note. Goes to the full pattern. And this is the first time that we hear the chords change with the bass line. Breakdown 2 is the same as breakdown 1, except the bass line is out. We don't need to have this in because we've already established it. And we go back to just the single chord. So, which I feel like something I'm thinking about when it comes to build-ups and drops is contrast. So here I know that we have the full chord changes from the bass, and we've had that here as well. So we create more tension by just holding on one chord as opposed to keeping the changes going. It's a summer groove. Another difference between these sections is there's drums playing throughout the whole first breakdown, whereas this one, we pause everything. And, I feel like it's so easy when you're making music to go further into your song and feel the need to add new ideas. But so often you can get really amazing moments by copying the whole section and then removing stuff, removing drums, removing a bass line. Now this breakdown feels more dramatic and more suspenseful because there's just less happening. And then final drop, this is all a copy of this. There might be one or two extra things like the ARP pluck, the high chord, which is, like I said, these notes pitched up an octave. And that is the song. So hopefully that was helpful. You know, happy to take, yeah, I don't know, like it's getting so late. Should we, Amber, do you have time for maybe like two more questions? Does that sound
Oh,
cool?
totally.
Okay, sick. I
I
just
think
feel
one of the
like,
things I love about this song and the simplicity of it, like how the meat of the song is like really just like four things. It reminds me of like, back in the day, they had a four track to record on, right? Like you
yeah,
only had four, like, and then they had the eight track, and you're like, oh, that's crazy. Now we have eight things. And now like you can do so much that it's like really easy to overdo things when it's kind of, I think, just really, if you can get like your whole song like arranged and like have like a structure of it with just like four basic things, then everything else is bonus.
so true. So true. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I think then in in line with everything we've been talking about, then you just gotta like call it a day, send the song. We sent the demo even before, adding all these extra things and they liked it. So yeah, I mean, I feel like it's interesting because the identity for the song came together in like an hour. And I feel like I'm a big fan of working quickly because, sometimes, you know, if the identity of that song is discovered in the first hour, it might not change that much after you spend like 80 hours working on it. So if you can just like call it done, move on to the next one, I think it's just more efficient. I feel like Amber, the last question that I want to ask for you to round this out is what's coming up? Are there any shows or releases that you're excited that you're looking forward to?
Oh yeah. Um, Me and you have some fun things coming up that I can't talk about, but just know it's super fun.
Yes.
Aside from those things that I can't talk about yet, I have a song coming out on Friday on BCCO on Hyperdrive's VA.
Mhm.
Um, and I got some. I'm coming to Detroit. I'm gonna have a little pit stop in America. My last America show of the year is this Friday as well. Um, because I got a little fun teletech gig in Toronto the day after. So I was like, let's stop by Detroit first on the way.
Sick.
But yeah, I have an EP also coming out on a local record label. Um, it's a sub label of like a major one, but it's like in Berlin. So yeah, I'm just really trying to like hone in and get different songs on different Berlin, Germany labels, Europe labels in general, and
Cool.
got some tours. Yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome. And then final question. What is the best way for people to get in touch with you, send music to Never Be Alone, join your community? How do you do all that?
I've made a very cute website called neverbealone.com.
Mhm.
And there you can get access to the group chat request form, which since like I've been talking about this and we just did this, I will definitely make it a priority to get people into the chat from the form in the next day or two. So if you want to join the group chat, you can sign up there. You can also send music through the website and the thing that says send demos here.
Mhm.
There are a lot of questions, but just do the best you can if you want to. And essentially, where all those songs go is in the big catalog, where when we do have a new VA coming out, all of the artists go through and they nominate their favorite songs and then we vote on them. So anything that gets through there. If you just want like to send me like a demo of your music, like DMs or honestly going in the Telegram chat is most likely to get my attention.
Oh,
But yeah.
amazing. Okay, well, um, Amber, this has been such a delight. I yeah, just cannot thank you enough for taking the time to share, all these amazing insights from your journey and to just like share your energy with this group. I mean, it's just so inspiring to just hear you talk about, yeah, how you approach your artistic journey. You're just it's like you're walking the walk of being like just the most legit artist. And it's just so inspiring. So, can everyone really quickly unmute and make some noise for Amber, aka
Let's
Mija?
fucking
Another
go.
Mika.
Oh, yeah. Amazing.
Thank
Yo,
you,
yo, yo, yo,
Justin.
yo, 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 yo. Love you, Amber.
Let's fucking go.
Let's go.
Amazing. Amber, thank you so much. Yeah, Amber, if you have to dip, feel free to call it a night, and I will talk to you very, very soon. Looking forward to our adventures ahead. And yeah, love you so much, and can't wait for our next adventure together, which will be in a week in Berlin. Oh, you're muted. You're muted. I muted everyone, including you.
I'll see you in a couple of days.
Let's go. Much love. All right. Have a great night,
Thank you so
Amber.
much for
Thank
everything,
you,
Justin.
guys.
Of course.
Thank you.
And for everyone else, I know some of you are probably already heading out. If you would like, drop your Instagrams into the group chat if you want to connect with anyone. And also, real quick, let me change views to look at the people who are still here. So one thing that I sometimes do, which I feel like would be fun to do because, you know, there's obviously still an amazing group of people here. Would you guys be interested in doing like a little song share on the Zoom where you drop a SoundCloud link and I'll click through and play like 10 seconds of as many tracks as I can and just do like a little show and tell? And what we can do is, you know, listen to each other's songs even very briefly, but hopefully my hope is, you know, to spread as much positivity and encouragement to each other. And, you know, it might be a little vulnerable, but you know, I feel like if we listen to each other's songs and try to express the genuine, authentic, you know, thoughts that are, you know, express you know, to identify the things that are really working in whatever we're listening to, and, you know, be like, you know, if the drums are sounding really nice, or if there's a synth or a vocal sample that's really cool, to just spread some positivity and break out of our bubbles. Give me a thumbs up if you're open to this idea. Okay, amazing, sick, let's do it. Oh, yay, there's so many links coming through. I feel like the most difficult part of this will be trying to play everyone's tracks, like 150 people. So I'm going to do my absolute best. It's possible that I will not be able to play every single person's song. There might be a technical error or like a broken link or something. So I'm going to try my absolute best. And I'm going to try to play like 10 seconds of everyone's song because, you know, like that might be just the most efficient way to do this. But I hope even with like a quick listen, you know, try to just, as we're listening to someone's song, comment in the chat what's working. Also, let's do SoundCloud only because it will be the way easier on my end. And if you please could send an individual song link. Let's avoid DJ mixes as well because that could be more confusing. But I'm opening up a bunch of links. Give me a second. And I'm going to try my absolute best. And just apologies in advance if I, you know, something goes wrong and your song doesn't get played, or if I skip too quickly before getting to the best part of your song. You know, that's like pretty frustrating. But just thought this would be a nice way to, you know, get a sense of who is in the Zoom. And, you know, I feel like take note of, you know, if you like someone's song, shoot that person a message, you know, connect. This is such a good opportunity to make new friends. Dude, there's so many links. This is awesome. Mark, what's up? Mums, what up? Kirky, okay, cool. Let's see. I'm gonna see. I don't know if I've done this in such a big group before, but I hope we have some fun and get to hear a bunch of new artists. I think another cool thing to keep in mind, we don't know if this could be someone's very first track that they've ever made. This could be something that someone spent 20 minutes on and is like very much a work in progress. This could be something that someone spent years perfecting and is like a really meaningful song. We just have no way of knowing. So I think we just need as much positivity and sensitivity as possible. I'm going to try clicking on a few more. There's so many links. And I'm going to do, okay, cool. I got to Julius. Let's call it there. We will do this again. So, fear not. I try to do these like guest lectures as often as I can. And then end of the month, Thanksgiving weekend in like 2 weeks, we got the 909 challenge. So definitely roll through there. So fun. So more hangs to come. All right, let me share my screen. And here are the links that I've amassed. And if yep, these are all looking good. If it's like a DJ mix or the link doesn't work, I'll just have to skip it. But are you guys, give me one last thumbs up, ready to spread some positivity, encouragement in the chat? You guys ready? Okay, amazing. Okay, sick. Do this. I'm getting my phone and I'm going to try my absolute best to keep it equal and do 10 seconds per song, rapid fire. Let me start the timer and let's go. Okay. Sick. Awesome. So sick. So sick.
Craziest thing I have ever seen.
Awesome. Let's go. Banging.
Is somebody gonna match my freak? Is somebody gonna match my freak? Is somebody gonna match my freak? Is somebody gonna match my freak?
Let's go. Oh, I'm missing the drop. I'm sorry.
Don't make me feel alone again. I only wanted you.
Amazing. So sick. Beautiful. So awesome. I think I just did that. So sick.
I have ever seen.
I think we did this one.
That was
Let's go now. So sick.
You can trust me, I won't tell nobody.
Banging. Let's see. Here we go.
Just wanna show you how I
So awesome. Come on.
Let me see your mouth in
Let's go. The range. So awesome. Sick.
todos.
Great groove. It's awesome. Sick. Really awesome. Awesome. Coming out soon on Kyle Saunderson's label. Let's go. Kevin Saunderson. That's awesome.
Shake your body, don't stop, don't miss. You gotta come on, then you then you.
So dope.
Rock body.
So sick. So awesome. I think it's the one. And it's DJ Mix. Okay, cool. Here we go. Awesome. Reefers. Reefers. Funky. Super pretty. sick. All right.
It's just one of those days where you don't want to wake up. Everything is fucked, everybody sucks. You don't really know why, but you want to justify ripping someone's head off. No human contact, and if you interact, your life is on contract. Face the knife, enemies on the blame.
Amazing. What a note to end on. Can unmute, make some noise for each other. Let's go.
Very nice.
You're all so
Amazing.
good.
So awesome. You really, really blown away by the range of music. It's so cool how there's so many people from so many different parts of the world listening to so many different styles of music. We're all here together and just got to share. That's so awesome. Apologies to everyone whose links either didn't work or if I skipped your song really quick. I think that's the hardest part, is being like, oh, wish we had more time. But yeah, thank you all for hanging out. Please stay in touch. For me, I feel like shoot me a message on Instagram. This recording will be up on YouTube in the coming days as well. But yeah, stay in touch. Message me if there was something about today that really stood out to you, made an impression. Let me know. It's always just really cool to hear from you guys and connect. Amazing to see so many familiar faces as well. Yeah, always a delight. And yeah, more adventures to come. Hope to see you all in 2 weeks. I'm going to post the exact schedule and stuff, but it'll be the weekend of Thanksgiving, last weekend of November. Let's make some music, and it's winter, it's getting cold. Great time to like reconnect, go into our like creative, zones, hibernate a little bit, but also really important to connect with each other. So we'll make sure that, if you dropped your Instagram link, we'll have the chat posted as well for you guys to like find each other and connect, collaborate, go to shows together. I feel like that's really what this is all about. So love you all so much. Thank you for hanging out for over 2 hours. You guys are amazing. Hope you have a great day or evening wherever you are in the world, and hope to stay in touch and see you all soon.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Much love. Good to see
awesome.
you.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Fantastic.
Bye, everyone.
Yes. Have a great
All
day.
right, where's the afters at?
Where's the afters?
Hey.
All right. Peace, everybody. Let's
Jose,
go.
where's the afters?